Welcome back to WD Magiccast for the week of November 24th, 2024. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody in the United States and everyone else. I hope you have a good week. This is episode 276. WD Magiccast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. In this week's show, we are discussing the latest bombshell news from Walt Disney World about Muppet Visions, monsters, and a roller coaster. Joining me will be David Goldman, who has returned from his hiatus partying in other lands, and Master Brooks will be here as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on all of our social networks, where we can be found just about everywhere at WD Magiccast, on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, YouTube. Definitely check out the YouTube channel. We launched our New York Comic Con video on there. Please be sure to check it out. Give it a like. Give it some nice comments. Share it out. The more people that like it and watch it, the more likely we will do more of that type of stuff. And also on the TikTok. Also check out our TeePublic shop, where we got some great merchandise. Get some stuff, some things for the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, and all that type of stuff. Boxing Day, Kwanzaa is all coming up. Make sure get yourself some nice stuff, or get some stuff for other people too. That works as well, and support your favorite podcast while you're at it. Links to all these are in the show notes. And on that bombshell, on with the show. The Disney parks are forever evolving, forever changing, forever growing. They are organic. They are a life form into themselves. Things are constantly changing in them, evolving, breathing, becoming other things. And for that to happen, some things have to go away. Everyone knows the famous quote of Walt saying that the Disneyland will never be a museum. And simply by that, you just mean things are going to change. And such things have just been announced about Muppet Vision, that the writing is on the wall for that, and Rock and Roller Coaster, and Monsters Inc. Land, for lack of better terms. And like the writing on the wall, bound to be found under a pile of letters to Santa Claus, we have found Dave Goldman. He is back with us after what feels like 75 years.
Come on, man. It's only been like a month, not even.
It's only been August.
I had to take a month off.
Dave, it's November.
Wow. Hey, time flies when you're having fun, man. You know, my other show took up a lot of my time. You were part of one of the episodes that took like 4 sittings to record the whole thing. And then I had to have other episodes because my partner decided he needed to go to Europe. So, I, as much as I love doing your show, man, I was hammered. And if I wanted to stay like married, I could only do one thing at a time.
Well, we could discuss that part later.
Yeah.
But it was an honor to be a part of Shooting It Straight's 100th episode and being the guy who kicked it off basically with all the other guests. Yeah. I don't know how I got that honor other than he just called my name first.
He said you were up first. That's how you got it.
that was fine by me. Yeah. And then also because we were talking parks and because we need someone who has probably been to the parks close to as many times as I have, and definitely lives there more often than I do. Master Brooks has joined us. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, that's what I call home down there in Disney World in Florida. So yeah, that's my spot.
Well, as a DVC member, you basically, it is technically your home. You do pay for the utilities there.
That's right. I have the dues every month to prove it.
So thank you both for coming on to talk about this news. I'll try not to put too much feelings into it at first, but yeah, the news that was announced just last week. We're recording this on the 26th, actually, of November. So yeah, last week they dropped that the monsters land that they announced a year ago now at D23. Or it was over the summer. When was that,
was the
Chris?
summer, right? Was it over
Yeah.
summer?
Yeah, it was over the summer. But they never said where it was going, and everyone speculated it was going to be Muppets, and then speculation was, well, maybe it's going to be Animation Courtyard. Well,
like they had two blue sky options, right? Looked like one was the Courtyard and one was Animation Courtyard, right?
Yes. From what I heard from Jim Hill, that they'd been eyeballing Muppets, but they realized that they were starting to get some pushback on that. So some other Imagineers decided, okay, we're going to figure out, well, what would be the possibility and what would this look like if we do an animation courtyard. And at one point, I believe that was just the general idea of putting it that way. So that they kind of went back and forth on that, but when it really comes down to it, as he explained it, it makes, from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense, because doing it in Muppet Courtyard, you are not having to do as much demolition. So a lot of the Muppet Theater is staying because there's a monsters show going there. You're going to build the show house for the roller coaster off past the berm. So basically where the wall is now is where the front of the entrance of the building is, and it's going to go back into the parking lot. So you're just tearing down a wall basically, and then rescanning and retheming the other stuff. Where Animation Courtyard is, you'd have to tear down the animation building. So you'd have to spend money on the demolition, and that also takes up time whenever you have your neighbors building up a whole new theme park.
Could it have had anything to do with the size of the property that they have, on the Grand Avenue compared to the animation, where, hey, we're going to do so many things with the Monsters Inc. We need this land, and we can't expand outwards. So this side has to go. Did any of that maybe come into it? Maybe,
but on the Animation Courtyard side, you have a fair amount of space.
Mm-hmm.
Is there enough is there enough space backstage over there to do the construction?
Well, see, that's the thing. You'd have to tear down the animation building.
Yeah.
Is there enough backstage access, or is it because where they're building it now, it looks like there's plenty of backstage access, like just a employee parking lot?
Yeah, I think there is probably more space on that end. Let me pull up the map quickly.
Yeah, but I have the map up. That's going to put a lot of traffic on the one side of the park, because you're going to have the Monsters Inc., which is going to be popular when it first starts, and you got Galaxy's Edge right there too. So that one side of the park is going to be overpopulated compared to the other.
And not just that. Not just that. You also have the fact that on the Animation Courtyard side is closer to Toy Story, so you kind of have that whole Pixar flow to it. But you do have the issue of Little Mermaid, and you also Playhouse Disney. Now, Playhouse Disney, you could just quickly build another theater and relocate that. That wouldn't actually be too complicated, says me. Versus the Little Mermaid, which they just spent quite a bit of time and money to revamp that theater after all the issues it had for being closed because of COVID. And then you're going to have to relocate that, and obviously mermaids and monsters kind of don't fit the scheme as well.
Yeah.
So all right, so looking at the map here, Animation Courtyard is over here.
So they got Star Tours is over there. So Star Tours is not going to be affected by this move. Am I looking at the map right?
Yeah, you're looking at the map right. Star Tours won't be affected by it.
It's always bothered me that Star Tours is not connected to Galaxy's Edge. I know the big difference between the like errors and they're trying to separately tell a story with Galaxy's Edge. If they weren't so far apart where they couldn't have connected them somehow. But
I think it more comes to the matter of there was just no logistical way to be able to connect them.
It was right there.
But yeah, I know. But again, you had the Muppets in the way.
Right. So now you said the theater where the Muppets currently is.
Yes.
Is supposed to be revamped for some type of Monsters Inc. show.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
I've also heard that, but it wasn't announced when they made this announcement.
No, that's what I thought was interesting. Wasn't the initial announcement that there wasn't, but then people said, "Oh yes, this is going on." There's also going to be a Monsters Inc. themed restaurant,
which is exciting. Well. Yeah. Yes. They're going to revamp. That's Mama Melrose. I think they're going to redo.
Possibly, yeah, because you have the kitchen there between that Rizzo's and Mama Melrose shares.
Right. From looking on the map, it looked like the new Well, they're going to do, I think, another 2 restaurants. Yeah.
Yeah, so. It's Harryhausen's restaurant. The concept art features Harryhausen, a restaurant from the original Monsters Inc. That's going to replace the Mama Melrose.
Yeah.
That was like the Chinese restaurant that I remember driving through in Disneyland and gotten the smell of lemongrass. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the basically it's the Japanese, the sushi place that Mike takes Sally on the date.
Yes, with this, yeah. There's like a squid up front or something, octopus.
Yes.
Thing, yeah. So that'll be good. That'll be real good. But now, do we know what the show is going in there? I mean, people are excited that maybe it's the show that they put on. Was at the end of the first one?
I'm not seeing anything about what the show would be. All I have is the updated theater facade has been designed to fit the aesthetics of Monstropolis, aiming to evoke the bustling city atmosphere from the films. Disney says a new show will be presented at the updated theater. That's all I got. I don't know details on what's actually going in there, but
wasn't it?
So
Mike
put that thing back where you found it, or help me. Also help me.
Right.
Is that what you're looking for, Chris?
Yeah, that's what I want, man. Well, I did see someplace in the concept art there was a sign for Laugh Factory, so I've heard speculation that they would just move that. But that would overhaul things over the Magic Kingdom as well.
Yeah. So that's one theory, and I honestly don't see that. Don't think that's happening.
Give me put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. I'm down.
Yeah. And here's why I don't think it's going to be Laugh Factory. Because as much as people, it's definitely because look at this and that. Well, it's concept art. It's not definitive.
Right. And the theater would still need an overhaul at that point because the theaters are not the same.
No, a completely different theater, completely different mechanics that are working in there. The other thing being is if you pull that out of Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom, you have 2 large pieces of real estate that are sitting empty right across from each other. You have the Monsters Laugh floor, which will be completely empty. And then right across the other way where Stitch's Great Escape was completely empty. So, and that's right at the entranceway to Tomorrowland. You walk in and they look at all the it's like a ghost town in here.
Yeah. So I don't think they're going to do that. But hopefully it's a new concept, a new show.
That's what I'm going to hedge my bet on. That just makes more sense.
Or keep the Monsters facade and keep playing my favorite MuppetVision 3D in there.
I know.
So you brought up something that I guess we'll touch on now. is that one of the things that they stated in here. Here we go. If I can find the exact quote.
Preservation quote.
Yes. That they are. Let's see. As we move forward with these changes, we have creative conversations exploring ways to preserve the film and other parts of the experience for fans to enjoy in the future.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, why can't, if they're doing a Muppets Mayhem themed coaster, if there's room over there, why can't they have like build another theater there and move MuppetVision over there?
Dave, you're a genius. There just happens to be a square building adjacent to Rock and Roller Coaster that happens, is a little black box. Currently, well, until a few weeks ago, had Lightning McQueen in it.
Lightning McQueen, yeah, that's what I'm looking at the map.
Right. They are revamping it to put the villain show in there. The prevailing thought is that the villain show that's going in there is not something that is going to be permanent, which stands to be the testament of that building. That building is a black box building. Basically, whatever we want to put in there for whatever time period we want will go in there. Nothing's going to be forever permanent. It is not a permanent show building for now.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought being is they're putting the villains in there as a test run or kind of to feel out and give the general ideas of what works with the villains, or building up the idea that the villains are coming to Walt Disney World. Yeah, well, Magic Kingdom. And here's a taste of some stuff and how does it go over, and we could tweak it and revamp it as we need over the next year or two before ground really starts to break and ideas become more concrete.
But it's going in like the kiddie area of the Hollywood Studios.
It's going in the black box where Lightning McQueen's Racers is, which is right next to Rock and Roller Coaster.
Millions of people have been bringing their 4-year-old to see Lightning McQueen.
No longer, yes.
And now we're going to have villains.
Well, but to what level we don't know. But yes, but what we considered,
maybe they're going to be testing the age appropriateness of villains.
Possibly. I mean, when you consider what's around that building, when you're talking kiddie area, you're now talking about Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster, and this building.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
Villains is so broad. That's crazy. They might as well just said heroes.
They tried that concept once. It didn't go over well.
Yeah.
That was right after the princesses. The princesses hit it big, and they said, "Oh, we gotta hit the male market. We're gonna do Disney heroes." That didn't last too long.
Yeah.
So that is one. That seems to be the more popular theory of what's going to happen, and basically that's going to change that whole corner to a Muppet land. So you'll have, which we just didn't talk about until now. I guess now we're talking about it. That Rock and Roller Coaster is going to be getting a Muppets overlay,
which is awesome.
Yeah. You know what? I'm surprised that it hasn't happened earlier, but it apparently has been on the boards for some time now. Just seems to be the right time to announce it because, well, we're taking away one thing, but we're giving you another. But so, yeah, if you put Muppets in the black box theater, which is you walk to get there, you have to pass Rock and Roller Coaster. So you basically now created a whole Muppet little section. Mm-hmm. Which I think works brilliantly. And then you kind of could do some more things there with it. So theming wise, that would work out. That would be brilliant. I mean, I can't say that Lightning McQueen's Racers ever got huge numbers.
Probably not.
So, I mean, that's but it's no longer there. So,
Right.
if it was a huge draw, it would still be there.
Right. I don't think there's an outcry of why that went away.
No, but also it was never meant to be it was okay, we just need a filler show, here you go. Here's some video with one animatronic.
Yeah. But the Muppet Visions, like even my daughter was like, they're getting rid of that. I said, yeah, she was not happy about that. You know what I mean? So that ride or whatever show has reached the generations, man. So seeing that thing go is not good.
From people who are grown up being fans of it to people who appreciate it for what it is now was, as being Jim Henson's last released project that he ever worked on, to just fans of the Muppets in general. It is currently, because there's no announcing date of exactly when any of this stuff is happening, but it's going to be soon, and you can almost guarantee definitely within the next 12 months, maybe even possibly the next 6 months, depending when the permits start getting filed, which probably will be soon.
Yeah, I heard sometime in 2025. There wasn't no confirmed date.
Right, because they never officially announced it.
Yeah,
but it was family friendly. It was indoors. It was enjoyable. To me, it never got old. Especially, it was one of the ones that the pre-show was just as good, if not maybe sometimes viewed better than the actual show itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the pre-show I thought was brilliant. And then you got the actual show itself, which to me was timeless. And again, family friendly. The gags are great. It's indoors. You're sitting. It just hits all the nice little marks of a family moment that you're not. The lines were never that huge either.
No.
You know what, Matt? From the family perspective, we all have kids. Some people wait to go to the parks until the kids are a little bit older, but for families like myself that bring the kids when they're very, very young, each park probably has a ride or two that the adults can appreciate and actually bring their kids on. And I think for studios, that was it. That was your ride that was kind of for the adults, but at the same time for the kids. Maybe something like Small World at Magic Kingdom, but every park kind of has that one ride that you got to have your kids experience for the first time. And I think for a lot of us, generations of people, that was it at studios.
Yeah. I mean, whenever you think about what else is at the studios, you got Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so let's say kids just went to go see Lightning McQueen. That wasn't for the parents, right?
No,
right.
No.
This was one that was for the family. It was a family ride that the family would enjoy. Spaceship Earth, maybe at Epcot, right? So there's different ones that the kids can go on that was really for the family, and that was this. And that's why it's such a huge shame to see it go.
Right, and the kids kind of you would recognize the Muppets, even if they don't know the Muppets. It's not hard to relate to them in this show.
Mm.
And it's written in a way that kids would understand. Kids will find it funny with just like some of the craziness and zaniness, and it's written in some of the stuff that's said. The parents start to get in, laugh and just kind of chuckle because of just how brilliant it's written. It's like, the line of, we invited distinguished guests and scientists from all around the world. Unfortunately, none of them showed up. Yeah.
You know what, too? Like, if you compared it, though, even to, like, Tough to Be a Bug, right?
Yeah.
Muppet Vision, like, Tough to Be a Bug was scary for a lot of people.
Yes.
Muppet Vision was never really scary for the little kids.
No, there's a reason why the Tough to Be a Bug seats are brown. And also why Tough to Be a Bug is also getting replaced. Yeah, Muppet Vision was never scary. It was always funny. You always pick up additional details that you never realized were there. That it's the same film since it debuted in 1991, and I'm still watching it, going, "Oh, I never realized this." 30 plus years later, I'm still finding things that I never realized, or trying to figure out, wait, where did that arrow come from? Because when I walked in, there was not an arrow there, and now there's an arrow there, and I can't see any visible point that this arrow should have just like appeared from.
Sure.
It's just stuff like that, and you have the Sweetums comes running out in person. It's so brilliantly done. It would be a shame to lose it forever, but if you're able to preserve it and rework it. Another thing I heard was that maybe it's coming to the what are they, the Apple Pro goggle, whatever things are, Apple Vision.
I've also heard just Disney Plus.
I've heard that one too, that they put it up on there, but the thing is that
that's not the same as seeing it in the park.
No, it definitely isn't, because you lose a lot of it, but they realize that this film is important for many reasons, being that it's Jim's last piece of work. It has a huge following. Cinematically is important. It's not just a theme park attraction film. There is not only did Jim was his last thing to work on, he passed away before it was completed. So it was finished. They had to rework some stuff, and that's after he passed away. Like the midsection had to be redone, and the pre-show was done after his passing. All of that. If you want to go back to episode 136, when we have Muppet Vision's 3D's 30th anniversary with Rick Lyons, friend of the show, Rick Lyons was on and talking about his time working on it, working with Jim, and how they put this thing together, and then how things time-wise panned out. Really insightful episode. So that's episode 136.
Do you know I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you know if there's we all three of us sit here and go, okay, we don't like this move. We like Monster Vision. We want to be there. But is the overwhelming majority of people out there saying the same thing? Are you aware of any of that? Or, you know what I mean? I can't imagine everybody saying, oh yeah, it's time for that thing to go.
I haven't. It just as a general rule, I don't go and see what a lot of people are saying about things.
Yeah. The only reason why I bring it up is because if there is that kind of that pushback on it, maybe they will push it to the McQueen building. You know what I'm saying? Just to get it back to the public.
The general response that I have been seeing, what I have seen, is that most people are upset about this, and which is also supposedly one of the reasons why they've held out so long and just randomly dropped the announcement on a random Wednesday, Thursday,
right,
during the week, that this is happening, and cover up. We've got some other stuff going on at the same time.
Right.
Oh look, Skeleton Crew's getting a new release date.
Yeah, don't pay attention to this. Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. So they know it's not the popular plan.
That's not to say we're not excited about monsters and we're not excited about mayhem.
No, and to look at it as from a business standpoint, to remove the emotion from it and just look at a pure what is logical and what makes sense to do on a financial basis. Again, like I said, you don't have to do the demolition as much. There is as much demolition, so that's going to be able to save you money that way, and also be able to produce your end product faster. Muppets, like we said, didn't have a huge line. You weren't people weren't banging down the door of the park, standing in line at 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning to get into the studios to go on to Muppet Vision 3D.
Yeah.
So you're not losing a keystone attraction in that aspect. It's not like it's Tower of Terror. It's not like it is Phantasmic. It's not like it's Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway or Toy Story Mania. It's not any of those keystone attractions.
Right.
So it is. It's unfortunate. It is on the lower. I mean, it's always been popular. It's always had a high rating, and it's got a definite fan following.
But
So
here we go again, and they're taking away rides to give us rides.
Right.
Exactly.
They're taking away they're taking away a show to give us a ride.
To give us a ride.
Well, a show and
a ride
and rock and roller coaster. So the park's got what, 11 rides? I'm counting Muppet Vision as a ride in that case, and they're taking 2 away for probably a year at least.
Right.
To maybe give us 3. We might get a positive 1 here.
Well, there's also the roller coaster that simulates the being on a door or whatever. That's supposed to be over there as well.
That's going to be brand new.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get the new show in the Muppet Vision Theater, so that's
we might get a net positive 1 here.
Right. There you go.
And then the Rocky Roller Coaster. I like Aerosmith, and I'm very happy. Always thought it was cool with their music and everything. I personally felt the writing on the wall for a retheme on that was years ago, whenever Steven Tyler was having some issues.
Right, but to be honest, man, I'm surprised that thing has lasted as long as it has.
Right. Well, and also now they have announced they are no longer going to be touring. They are done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told you, Matt, as soon as this came out, if you had told me they're replacing Rock and Roller Coaster and they're adding an IP to it, I would have been thrilled. I mean, I kind of am thrilled.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic news. I think it's, like you guys said, it should have been done for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised as Muppets, especially with Muppet Mayhem and how well received that was, despite the fact that they canceled it and they're not going to give it a second season. But
I loved it. I thought it was so good.
The reviews on it are glowing. Is one of the best selling Muppet albums ever. It won awards. It's just like it was a no brainer.
Wait, one of the best selling Muppet albums ever? How many were there?
It was the number 1 album.
Yeah, but how many albums have they released? Uh-oh. That look means
at least 10.
Really? All right.
Well, I mean, you figure 1 for each movie.
1 for okay. Yeah, true.
Then you also have Unpigged and a few other Old Blue Eyes, or Old Brown Eyes, I think it was. So you've had a few other just like standalone albums. So yeah, there's several albums out there.
I love that.
It's always the shows that you want a second season to that they never.
You're right.
They're just not going to do it.
Book of Boba Fett's on its work.
Yeah. Acolyte season 2. Oh no.
But yeah, I mean, again, go back to our episode 225 where and Emily and I sit down and review Muppet Mayhem. And talk about the album, or songs from it, and what we think of it. Apparently, one of the things that was going on is that trying to figure out what are the exact rights from the 80s, for the guests that were on the rock and roll guests that were on the Muppet Show to be able to use their music in an attraction. And the 80s things were a lot different than they are now. You didn't have distribution rights and long-term rights and home video and this and that. All that type of stuff just wasn't really there and have to be considered. Did someone tell Debbie Harry that, in 40 years we're going to think about putting your song into a indoor roller coaster in Florida?
Yeah.
Not something to be considered. So you'd have to hammer that out. Who you're going to get the rights to. I think again, this is a brilliant move, not only to be able to refresh an attraction. You don't have to really rebuild the attraction.
No.
But you do, refresh it somewhat, give it new life. You now could, because it's just the same song or same track, audio track for the entire ride. Now you could do something like you do in Guardians of the Galaxy and have multiple tracks to give it that rewritability. Oh, what song did you get this time? Oh, what song did you get that time?
Yeah.
Because like Guardians, it's the same ride, but just changing up the song changes up the ride.
Right.
So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities out there of what type of songs you could do. If you do it as the Mayhem, the possibilities are endless of what type of songs you could put in there.
I'm down. Let's do it.
I think again it is a brilliant move.
With that most recent Mayhem album, that should clear up all the rights to the songs, right? Because they could just use all those songs.
See, I'm not getting that vibe. I would have thought that would be the natural progression. I honestly think some of the songs on there would lend themselves nicely into a roller coaster.
Okay.
But they haven't said yet of what songs, or probably even have any idea what songs they're going to do. But
I would assume they would use some of them if they're theming it around the Mayhem. I'm assuming they would use some of that. So,
I don't see why not. Like Rock On, I think would be beautiful on it. Can you picture that?
Sure.
Rock and Roll All Night. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Do you think they can line that up to? I heard someone say they can line up the pre-show with the launch to choose your song. I don't see them being able to do that. I think once you get into the lineup, once you get inside, that'd be too tough, right?
So you're talking about something like they have in Universal with the whatever that.
Because what I heard was like, because it's a screen essentially in that pre-show with Aerosmith right now.
Yeah,
you had them, meet up with a particular guest star or talk about a particular song, then you could get that song on the ride. But then once those doors open, you're still back into another line, and to me, I don't think it would line up.
Yeah, there's no guarantee which role you're going to get, so you may not get the song you chose.
In theory, that could work, but
with Fast Pass and I don't know. I don't see it.
The timing on that is very particular. Yeah, I like if you do a group, so like
Unless
say
every like daily, right? Like day to day.
Yeah, that would make sense. I was gonna say like an hourly rotation, so within an hour block,
something.
Yeah, this guest shows up, and that's the song you get on the coaster, and then the next hour it cycles, or in some sort of increment like that, or every like 5 shows or whatever. Okay, this group goes through. There is the chance then that you have a small segment that will not line up with what they saw.
Right, but that could be over their head too.
Yeah. Rats, Matt, they're tourists. What do they know? So yeah, they just you run the little risk there, but that's collateral damage, really. I mean, that's minor.
Yeah.
You see many people picketing. I saw Elton John on there, and I ended up with a Steve Perry song.
Right.
I
think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I want to speak to your manager. I got the wrong song.
Just
I wanted.
Send him in the back. There's Animal.
Drum. Hello, Animal. Beat drum. Got it. All right. But yeah, so it's there's that. I'm sure they're still working out. I mean, what would be cool would be like, let's put on the website, vote for what song you would like to hear.
Now, when it comes to the rebuild of this stuff, I can't imagine them doing both at the same time. Do you? Or
I could.
Yeah.
I don't think they would, because that would drastically reduce the population, the capacity of the studio.
The attendance. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not even attendance, just how many you could have in the park.
Oh, okay.
So how many people are allowed in the park is based on the rides. So it's not over given volume area of the park, but it's given hourly capacity of the attractions. So if you have attractions that you could fit 6,000 people on, plus give or take some of the given area, that's how many people you're allowed in. So you take out an attraction, or attractions closed, you actually theoretically reduce the capacity of a park.
Which is what I'm worried about. I think they're going to, well, I don't know. I think that's kind of the whole idea, is when they're taking one away, they're giving you another one at the same time. I could see them, like that they want to open Mayhem at the same time they're closing the other.
Well, Mayhem would be the easiest, because it's a retheming of an attraction. Look how long it took them to do Splash Mountain.
Plenty of time.
Right. Well, it didn't take them that long. It took, what, 2 years? And that involved
a lot of work. You got a black box that you're dealing with here. You could, but most of it's in the dark.
Right. Okay. So you got the black lighted signs, which you could switch out. Just putting it out there. Not that, again, I know anything. I'm just spitballing here. Again, you go with the Guardians style, and you take out those plywood signs that they have on there now with black paint, and put in LED screens.
Sure.
And like really vamp it up that way. I mean, you'd really plus the ride at that point by doing that. The cheap way out is just kind of just repainting the signs.
You did just make me think where they're putting the Monsters Inc. Doors coaster, which we're all excited about, because they're putting it so far back. Do we keep Muppets 3D for a year, for 2 years? Because that could be the last thing to close. Like, they could theoretically build back there as long as they want and keep that up at the front for a while.
Depending on what's involved in the construction, you really could. While you're building the show building, you put up a giant screen and you work on that for a time period, because the retheming of the area, slapping some fresh paint and some prosthetics on the buildings, isn't necessarily going to take as long as it is to build the rest of the attraction, because since it's an indoor coaster, how those are built is they're built at 2 separate times. So
like what
Guardians was different. Guardians, they built the show building, and then they were able to build the attraction inside. Where Everest, they had to build the attraction, and then they built the show building around it.
Is that because it was older? A different way of doing things now.
No, because there's a different style of show building. Remember, Everest, the show building is wrapped around the tracks, where Guardians, the show building is housing the tracks.
What about Tron? How did they build that one? Because you got the track that's half in and half out.
They built the show building first.
Because this is going to be basically, this is all inside, right?
For the Doors coaster, yes, that will be entirely indoors. They even gave one of the images from the D23 showed kind of a concept of the layout of it.
The one concept art I saw showed that the Muppets souvenir shop is going to be demolished and flattened. It was it's themed after like a studio.
Yeah, that was actually supposed to be a restaurant.
Okay.
But yeah, that because that's a separate building.
Yeah,
I think they could if they wanted to.
I think they were just saying for sight lines. It looks like in the concept art it was gone.
Yeah, it could very well be, because the front of the Monsters Inc. The door attraction, so basically the electric company that they work for, the power company, is forward of the berm line. It looks like.
Yep.
So you almost kind of would have to for just traffic patterns.
We're thinking the building is the queue up front.
Could be. Or it almost looked like the entrance is more closer to where Mama Melrose is. Mama Melrose's place is.
There you go.
Yeah.
But if they could pull that off, that would be cool, because you could start working on the Monsterland and leave MonsterVision there until as long as possible to let people do like the farewell tour. You'll have a little bit of push of attendance going there to watch it one last time, and then
right
up to a certain date, then it's
the
gone.
MuppetVision.
Right.
Buys you time until Mayhem's ready.
Right. Exactly.
Well, right, and you kind of could be starting some of the work, because you don't want one to get too far ahead of the other, because you don't want to build the entire door coaster and have that finished waiting while you have to then now do the front end of everything.
Yeah.
You kind of want that kind of going in, and kind of sync that up. Yeah. But at the same time, you might as well, because that's going to take the longest part of everything. Get that started a little bit. Keep MuppetVision going while you got Rock and Roller down, because you don't want to shut down two attractions at the same time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of back of the house stuff. They gotta redo the employee parking lot. There's also a road back there. They're gonna have to reroute the road.
Yeah, but that's easy. I mean, that in grand scheme of everything else, rerouting a road is relatively easy.
Well, I'm saying do that while I can still go on 3D.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see why not. Yeah, that doesn't seem like it's logistically too difficult to do. I mean, you know where that road leads, Chris.
Doesn't it go around the whole park?
Well, yes, but it also oh no, actually it's not. It's part of I was going to say it's part of the access road to the Star Cruiser, but it's not.
I've been on that road. Well, the one in Epcot that goes around the park. We had to get in for a separate event, and we went around that road. I'm sure you've been back there for Animal Kingdom. To me, it looked like it was just the one that goes all the way around the park for access.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly what it is. Which, again, for them to reroute that wouldn't be too much trouble, especially with a parking lot just on the other side of that. So they'd be able to figure it out. I mean, they did it for Epcot.
Oh, for
when they built Guardians.
right. Yeah, that was a huge construction site.
The 10-year plan.
Not to switch parks, but I'm switching parks. Are they finally done? Like all Epcot, all that rebuilds and stuff, they're finally done, right? There's no more walls up or anything like that. Like, remember how you like go to the center where Moana is? You always had like the construction walls and stuff. They're finally done with all of it.
That's on my most recent visit. It was gone. It's all back to normal.
Back to normal.
Yeah, Walcott's finished.
Nice.
While we're in Epcot, I did have a random thought. How about the short film festival to put MuppetVision 3D?
Well, someone I was gonna say someone has another idea, and I haven't heard this one as much, is that relocating Muppets into Epcot. And I'm trying to think, well, where would you do that? The only place that I would think logistically would make sense is the Imagination Pavilion in the Magic Eye Theater there. But even at that is kind of a stretch. Or you could put him, I guess, in the U.S. because you already have a Muppet presence, but
they did it with Captain EO, right? They kept bringing it back.
Well, yeah, they brought Captain EO back, and now it's the short films.
Now, so they do have 3D capability there.
Yes, because that's where
that's why it's
How I Shrunk the Audience was. So that's a 3D theater. You already have some effects built into the seats. So like where my next 3D trick is going to shower you with and the so all that is possible. You have to put in the bubble blower, I think. You got the fans already built in there too. So a number of the effects are already built into that theater, so that would, in theory, or at least for a temporary point, it is possible.
You're getting me excited, Matthew.
So I'd say there is options here to continue that show. It's just a matter of what's going to be the best fit. And being that they actually put that in the press release that we are looking to preserve the show and continue into the future for future enjoyment. It's like we are not getting rid of this. It is not going to be where it was, and we don't know exactly how we're going to bring it to you, but we're not that stupid yet.
It's tough to be a Muppet. How about that?
Yes. No, that theater is way too small. That theater is way too small, I think. You already have Zootopia going in there. But can you imagine instead of Hopper, you have a giant Sweetums come jumping out? A bunny? Where?
Oh,
I don't see no bunny over there. Ain't nothing over there but a bunny. A bunny. Hey, Kermit.
But overall, look, I'm excited, because I do like the Monsters Inc. movies and the show Monsters at Work or whatever they had on Disney Plus. So I'm looking forward to that new land, and it's been long overdue. I think the Muppets are the right move for the retheming of Aerosmith. It's just, everybody, you want it now, but we know it's probably going to take a year or two before it's actually done so that you can actually go down there and experience it. So
yeah, it's going to take, again, they haven't announced any dates yet for any of this stuff to happen. We know it's sooner than later.
Mm-hmm.
And then, logically, doing rock and roller coaster first for a quick turnaround. Because you have this stuff going on at the studios, you have the stuff going on at the Magic Kingdom as well. So to be able to, where are you putting your resources? To me, it would be while construction work is starting at Magic Kingdom, shut down Rock and Roller Coaster, retheme that, while the prep work for and relaying of I could see Chris is already having a meltdown over what I'm talking about. For the Cars Land, well, the groundwork is being done there, which is a completely different construction group. The attraction people are working on Rock and Roller Coaster. So once the groundwork is done there, Rock and Roller Coaster should be done. You shift them over there. Ground crew comes over to Studios. Rock and Roller Coaster will be open. Studios starts its group work while the attraction people are working on at Magic Kingdom.
I was looking up Disney's fiscal year, which really just started in October. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this all happens throughout this fiscal year, or we actually were talking about next October. That's what I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Theoretically, either one's possible.
So what? By going by that, they may not even start anything till October of next year.
Well, demolition, I would think, would go before, kind of like what they've been doing with in Animal Kingdom, and so that's
the Animal Kingdom stuff too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's less impactful as far as demolition goes. But I know, like, when this fiscal year started, that's when they started the construction over there. So that's what I'm wondering. Do we get to the end of the summer with this stuff, and then September getting into October is when it actually closes down, and then the construction starts?
That sounds probably theoretically good. Theoretically right. And are they going to do like a grand farewell tour for MuppetVision?
Yeah, there's going to be a parade.
Like Splash Mountain.
No.
One last splash.
One last ride, yeah.
One last banana cream pie.
Yeah, I hope they do. I think they will.
I think so. Yeah, so, and there we have it.
Yeah.
The loader opener. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, I mean, sometimes you don't like change, but change is necessary in certain situations. So I'm looking forward to the change, but, not looking forward to seeing certain attractions go. But, that's the way of things. So the new changes will get me. I'm not going to go now, but when everything's done, I'll go down there in a couple of years and spend my money.
Like Thanos snapping his fingers, change is inevitable.
Sure.
Chris, any final thoughts or words of wisdom?
I mean, if everybody's wives will let me, I'm just going to try to get down there one more time before they close these things.
I think that is a brilliant idea.
There you go.
Just got to talk to our better halves.
Yes.
If everyone's wives would let you.
Good luck in
how many wives you got going on over
there? Here by myself. Let's talk about it for real.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as we get more information, we will be discussing this more because it's a topic close to the vest.
Yeah.
So, yep. So, gentlemen, thank you again. Dave, thank you for
coming back.
Unchaining yourself.
You're welcome.
Coming back to your home podcast, the podcast that got you started.
This. Hey, I always kind of come back home, I felt bad too, but it's like, again, there's only so much of me can go around,
Well, and Chris, thank you again always for coming on and lending your words of wisdom and your insight.
Oh, shucks, buddy. Thanks, man.
Anytime. Let us know what you think of what's going on at Walt Disney World. There's so much going on there, but let's stick with the Muppets on this one. Let us know what you think of what's going on with the Muppets, Monsters, and roller coasters. Again, join the conversation on our social networks that are pretty much everywhere at WD Magicast. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have these days, but the fact that you spent some of this time together with us here means a lot to me, a lot to us over at the WD Magicast family. I'm going to ask you, please take a moment, go onto Apple Podcasts, leave a rating and review there. We have all 5-star reviews. We need more. Keep them coming. Same with on Spotify. 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. The more that you review them or leave reviews, the more that they will do to help promote the show and help us get more listeners. Speaking of which, feel free to help promote the show as well. Send out a share on the social networks on your whatever one you prefer about the WD Magicast and what episode you're listening to, or just in general, whichever. We're not picky. And just let people know about us. We would appreciate it. Walt believed in Big Disney family, and so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when a new episode is posted. And while you're at it, consider becoming a premium subscriber. Really help the show out. You can do this over at Spotify Podcast. Links for that, as well as the social and the store, are in the show notes. And like I said, check out the merchandise shop. Get yourself something for the holidays. This sweatshirts, hoodies, all sorts of wonderful things. Hats. Because remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. Whatever you're facing out there, whatever troubles, especially during the holidays, things could seem a little more bleak. Don't give up. Never give up on yourself. Remember, you are special. You are unique. You have a purpose in this world, and you are touching someone's life probably in ways that you never realize how special and how impactful just sometimes a simple hello can be. And that only you were able to provide that. You could have changed someone's day by just a smile. Never give up, never give in, be your own hero, and let the world see your light and let it shine. Now I'd like to end this week's show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. Happiness is a state of mind. It's just according to the way you look at things. So I think happiness is contentment, but it does not mean you have to have wealth. All individuals are different, and some of us just wouldn't be satisfied with just carrying out a routine job and being happy. And that's Walt Disney. Thank you again for stopping by and listening, everyone, and I'll see you next time.